We are going to start with the Audit Committee meeting, and I'm going to turn things over to Adam, who will take the necessary legal steps to open our meetings formally.
Okay. I'll note that Elaine McCann, representing Budget Director Mary Beth LeBate, Linda Baldwin, representing Cesar Perales, Secretary of State, and Eric Moster, Chief Fiscal Officer, representing Commissioner Jerry Boone from Taxation and Finance, are participating in the meeting via video conference from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building, Room 131 in Albany. I'll ask for motions and seconds to call to order the December 10, 2015 Audit Committee meetings of the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation. I have motions for HFA and AHC and seconds.
So moved.
Motion for Sunny May and a second.
Second.
Okay. Motion for MBBA and TSFC and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All items are presented to each committee throughout today's meetings. These motions and seconds will be used unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any committee member or director wishes to record his or her vote differently. Note that Mr. Kenneth Fiallo is the Audit Committee Chairman for MBBA and TSFC and will chair the committee meetings for MBBA and TSFC. Commissioner Rubin is the Audit Committee Chairman for the HFA and AHC Audit Committees and will chair the committee meetings for HFA and AHC. Mr. Anthony Bergamo is the Audit Committee Chairman for Sunny May, and in his absence, Commissioner Rubin will chair the committee meeting for Sunny May. For purposes of convenience and to make sure the meetings of the respective agencies go smoothly,
How do I find the time?
items shared by one or more of our agencies will be presented by MBBA TSFC Committee Chairman Fiallo.
Okay. So, here's my favorite part of these meetings. The following is item number 1. The following minutes shall be deemed approved absent corrections from members or directors. First, the 57th HFA Audit Committee members meeting held on September 8th, 2015. Then the 51st AHC Audit Committee members meeting held on September 8th, 2015. Then the Sonia May Audit Committee directors meeting held on September 8th, 2015. The 44th MBBA Audit Committee directors meeting held on September 8th, 2015. And last but not least, the 43rd TSFC Audit Committee members meeting held on September 8th, 2015. I think I read it correctly. Does anybody have any corrections or comments? There being none, we'll now move on to the shared action item. This is item number 2, a resolution reviewing and approving internal audit staff functions. It's for all the agencies, and Steve Chopi is here to tell us all about it.
Item number 2, we're going to ask you to once again approve the internal audit staff function. According to the charter of the audit committees, each year the committee must approve the internal audit staff function. The document that you see there is similar as to one we had in the past, although it has been updated. But I'll just go through it briefly. The beginning, the first paragraph really talks about the audit committee's responsibility, which is to review and approve its purpose and authority, its audit budget, its staffing, and its audit plan. The second paragraph talks about internal audit's responsibility to maintain an effective program of internal audits and to make sure internal controls are in place. It goes on to talk about the audit plan, which covers the period of April 1st, 2015 to 3/31/16. Talks about the status report, which is sent to the members quarterly. And it also talks about that we bring the reports and management's response to the committee for review and approval. It continues by going on and giving a brief background on the audit staff, myself and my compensation. And I'd also like to add lastly that we're going to add an additional person to staff. We've already started the hiring process and hope to have someone in the near future. So we're going to ask you once again to approve the internal audit staff function.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I didn't see anything in the list of bullets here which talked about cooperating with Ernst & Young when they were providing information to and cooperating with Ernst & Young when they were doing their audit work in respect of the agencies. So,
Yeah, we do that as a annual thing. It's not a bullet on there, but we do. It's just like what we work with the financial services group and any other external audit group that comes in.
okay, so what's missing is a bullet that says working with external auditors for whatever group.
We could put that in.
Yeah, could you,
Sure.
just as a matter of making sure that the record is kind of right on it, we don't ignore that, we actually do that,
Okay, not a
that
problem.
should be reflected.
Okay,
I'm hoping the minutes will reflect that as well. There's a slight amendment, adding one bullet, cooperating with external auditors. Any comments, thoughts, anything at all? All right, Mr. Shimon.
Now before all 5 committees is a resolution of the audit committees of the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the New York State Housing Finance Agency, New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation, reviewing and approving an internal audit staff functional plan. Assuming the first and second previously entered for all 5 committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Commissioner Rubin, you're up.
Okay. Where am I reading from, Mr. Head?
No, I think it's still you, Mr. Bial.
Really?
I have 3, you can do that.
it's a Sunny May item.
Says Commissioner Rubin.
Mine says
It's an old trend.
Mr. Biala.
Okay, never mind. Where am I? Okay. That is an old draft, I guess.
Well-oiled machine is breaking down.
Okay. Item 3, yes, it is a well-oiled machine, and we're back on track. Resolution approving Sony May's servicer audit of Community Bank together with management's response. Ask Mr. Chope to discuss.
Here we looked at the mortgage records and the systems of internal control for the Sunny May single-family loans that are serviced by Community Bank as of April. As of our audit date, they were servicing approximately $34 million in loans. Community Bank is a subsidiary of Community Bank Systems, Inc., that had about $7.5 billion in assets as of 12/31/14. The loans are serviced by their mortgage operations group that deals with originations, acquisitions, and servicing of residential and commercial properties. They're participating in all the agency bond programs. Payments can be made at their branches or through a locked box, and their deposits are FDIC insured. The results of our audit was we were able to satisfactorily achieve our audit objectives. There was one item in the report which management has responded to, and we're going to ask you to accept the report and management's response.
So, Mr. Schuman, I guess this is before the Sony May committee only, and the question is, are there any comments or thoughts with respect to the report and or management's response? Take it away.
Now before the Sunny May Committee, resolution of the Audit Committee of the State of New York Mortgage Agency, reviewing and approving a servicer audit of Community Bank N.A., assuming the first and second previously entered for the Sunny May Committee. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's
Elaine and Jane.
Elaine and Orange and Jamie. Good. Okay, the motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
All righty, next is item 4. Resolution reviewing and approving New York Higher Education Loan Program audit. This is a Sony May item. And once again, we're going to ask Mr. Chope to discuss this.
Thank you. Here we looked at the accounting records and, and systems of internal control for the HELP program as of January of this year. As of our audit date, there were approximately $10.5 million in loans, student loans outstanding. Sunny May launched the program in 2009 and was responsible for issuing the bonds to finance the program, as well as to monitor certain accounts such as bond proceeds, default reserves, the cost of issuance accounts, and also interest capitalization. This program is co-administered by HESC, who's responsible for the creditworthiness and the servicing of the loans. In 2009, when we started the program, we issued approximately $98 million in bonds. in order to finance fixed-rate education loans for undergrad and graduate students at participating institutions in New York State. Unfortunately, the demand for the product was not very well, and we had to recall $86 million in bonds in 2011, leaving $11 million in bonds outstanding. Currently, the program has been suspended, and we are not originating any loans at this point. However, staff still continues to reconcile accounts and to meet the requirements of the debt service. And lastly, we did have discussions with management on the possible defeasance of the bonds. However, the agency is only the issuer of the bonds, and they don't control the program, and therefore, any defeasance would have to be under the discretion of the state of New York. The result of the audit was we were able to satisfactorily achieve our audit objectives. There were no items in the report. Minor issues were discussed and resolved. We're only going to ask you to accept the report because a response from management is not necessary.
Right. Any questions or comments? All righty, Mr. Schuman, take it away.
Yeah, before the Sunny May Committee is a resolution of the State of New York Mortgage Agency Audit Committee reviewing and approving internal audits, New York Higher Education Loan Program Audit Report. Assuming the first and second previously entered for the Sunny May Committee. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Thank you. All right, there is no unfinished business, and accordingly, we need motions and seconds to adjourn for each of the five agencies, members and directors committee meetings.
Assuming the first and second previously entered for all five committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motions are carried, the meetings are adjourned. The next audit committee meetings are scheduled to meet on Thursday, January 28, 2016. Thank you.
All righty.
Now going to go to the governance committee meetings.
Yes, we're going to the governance committee meetings. What is this? Give me new stuff here? No. Okay. All right, welcome everybody to the meetings of the governance committees of each of the five agencies. I'm going to turn things over, as you would expect, to Adam, who is going to take the steps necessary to open the meetings legally and formally.
Okay. First, please note that Elaine McCann, representing Budget Director Mary Beth LeBate, Linda Baldwin, representing Cesar Corrales, Secretary of State, and Eric Mostert, Chief Fiscal Officer, representing Commissioner Jerry Boone from Taxation and Finance, are participating in the meeting via video conference from the New York State Division of Budget Conference Center at the Capitol Building, Room 131 in Albany. I will ask for motions and seconds to call to order the December 10, 2015 Governance Committee meetings of the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the State of New York Municipal Bank Bond Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation. I have motions for HFA and AHC in seconds.
So moved.
So moved. Motion for Sunny May in a second.
So moved.
Motions for MBBA and TSFC in a second.
So moved.
Okay, please note that Steve Weiss is the Governance Committee Chairman for HFA and AHC and will chair the committee meetings for HFA and AHC. Kenneth Bialo is the Chairman for MBBA and TSFC and will chair the committee meetings for MBBA and TSFC. And Jamie Rubin is the Chairman for Sunny May and will chair the committee meeting for Sunny May. As items are presented to each committee throughout today's meetings, these motions and seconds, as you know, will be used unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any committee member wishes to record his or her vote differently. For purposes of convenience and to make sure the meetings of the respective agencies go smoothly, items shared by one or more of our agencies will be presented by MBBA TSFC Committee Chairman Mr. Biala.
Thank you, Adam. The first item on the shared items list is item number 1. And this is, the following minutes shall be deemed approved, absent corrections from members or directors. First, the 44th HFA Governance Committee members meeting held on September 8th, 2015. Then the 41st AHC Governance Committee members meeting held on September 8th, 2015. And then the 44th Sony May Governance Committee directors meeting held on September 10th, 2015, then the 39th MBBA Governance Committee Directors Meeting held on September 8th, 2015, and finally, the 38th TSFC Governance Committee Members Meeting held on September 8th, 2015. Does anyone have any comments or corrections?
I have a correction. This is Linda. I was listed as absent for both the MBBA and TFSC meetings, and I came in late. I missed the first few items. I was there for the bylaws item forward. I don't know how that gets recorded, but I wanted to make sure that that was reflected.
Thank you. Can we fix that, Alan? Okay. Any other comments or thoughts? All righty, then these are deemed approved. And we go on to the next item, which is resolution recommending the approval of the agency's master goal plan. This is all 5 agencies, and Ms. Graham is going to discuss that with us. Good morning.
Good morning. Today's goal plan submission is an annual update for fiscal year 2016 and 2017 for the 5 public authorities. The goal plan is due to ESB on January 15th. Our task is to analyze the agency's expenditures, identify areas for MWBE opportunity, work with the various departments to create procurement strategies, identify obstacles the agency may face in meeting the now overall goal of 30%. We also monitor and report on a quarterly basis. I'm going to go through the goal plan by page, but before I do that, for the purpose of monitoring MWBE activity, the agency's expenditures are divided into 3 categories: procurement, development activity, and bond transactions. I just want to let you know, for the previous fiscal year, the agencies achieved a 17% overall goal, 17% utilization toward a 20% goal. Okay. If we go to page 3, we have procurement and goods and services. Although procurement is 1.1% of the agency's total expenditures, our legal expenditures are 58% of that, with the largest contract activity being in bond counsel work. Working with general counsel, MWBE counsel, and majority firms, we are strategizing to establish meaningful and substantial participation for MWBE goals. So we'll see an increase in that area, I'm certain. The graph gives an idea of the departments where, on page 4, where agencies have had success in MWBE participation. Where once we take out expenses that are excluded or exempt, we've been able to realize great MWBE participation. And our bond transactions, although it's 2.4% of the agency's total expenditures, the agency has had great success in that area and will continue working with in that area. The only obstacle we see is for firms that may max out of the MWBE program due to the fact that they may exceed the personal net worth goal. Right now, there's a 1-year extension, but we will see firms that possibly will max out. If we go to page 5 and we look at our development activity, approximately 97% of the agency's total expenditures, we break out development on 2 programs, the HFA development programs and the Affordable Housing Corporation. When Article 15A was first introduced, it really didn't take in consideration nonprofit funding, our AHC program. In analyzing the Affordable Housing Grant Program, we've been able to carve out areas where there's no opportunity for MWBE and to apply the goal not on the whole grant, but the portion where there are opportunities. For example, acquisition and rehab grants, there's typically no opportunity for land purchase costs. For new construction projects where there's down payment and closing cost assistance to the home buyer, there's typically no MWBE costs. We've also recommended on home improvement grants for the grantees to establish a pre-qualified list of contractors in their respective areas, inclusive of MWBEs. The homeowners ultimately make the decision on who's going to work on their home, but it helps them with their good faith effort of trying to assist MWBEs in this area. For HFA development, that's divided into the all affordable projects and the 80/20s. There's a correction on page 5 where the second paragraph, the second line reads, all affordable projects comprised of 83%. It should read 17%, and the 80/20s is the 83%. HCR is committed to conducting ongoing strategy meetings with the development community to increase MWB participation. We're also working on ways to incentivize partnerships between the development community and MWBEs. We're also revising the liquidated damage. Veronica Flanders from my team just joined us.
Good morning.
Revising the liquidated damage clause in the contracts to act as a deterrent for noncompliance. Working with the agency's procurement team and program staff, we've projected expenditures for the next fiscal year in the 3 categories. The agency's exclusions has not been identified. The agency has not identified and certified MWBEs in these areas. However, as contracts expire, we work with the program departments to identify MWBEs. I'm proud to say over the last couple of years, we've been able to remove items such as bond counsel, insurance consulting, financial printing, and independent audit from the exclusions list. The agency's exemptions, however, a list of areas of items that do not have MWBE opportunities, such as rent, building maintenance, things like that, and contracts that are under $25,000 that are not subject to Article 15A. On page 10 and 11, it basically outlines the outreach efforts in the categories to which my team undertakes. We participate in industry-related conferences, on panels as exhibitors. We've created an MWBE corner with useful links to ESD, to the database of MWBEs that are working on HCR projects in the construction trades as well as professional services. We also sit on all RFP and RFQ committees to advocate for MWBE participation either directly or as subcontracting. And lastly, on the page 12 is the HFA team that works on the MWBE utilization outlined in yellow. Thank you.
Since we have all 5 committees, can we just clarify for MBBA and TSFC, since they had no activity in 2015, no figures relate to them for that period.
Right.
But they have the goals going forward, and because they don't have development activities, the goals would relate to procurement and bond-related costs for those 2 entities.
Absolutely.
Yes.
In 2010, we were submitting independent goal plans for each agency. In 2012, I was able to negotiate with ESD and the Executive Chamber one consolidated goal plan for the 5 authorities, since we have one procurement strategy for the 5 authorities. So, thank you.
As long as we all appreciate that TSFC and
That's absolutely right.
MBBA do not do
Yes.
housing-related projects. I suppose they could at some point if it came up that way, but so far they haven't, and it's really not part of their chart.
I would just like to add my compliments to Wanda and her team. You know, this area has really shown great improvement over the years, and you know what this report doesn't reflect are the countless individual phone calls and opportunities for those seeking guidance on MWBE who Wanda handles or redirects internally. And it's been a great benefit to the state overall, and particularly in areas in upstate where I think there have been some difficulties in finding qualified vendors. So thank you.
Well, maybe we don't have to have what we have always had before, which is there are no qualified people.
That's right.
That's
Which
The
was
universe
really
is
cold
increasing.
before we haven't looked for any qualified
There you
people.
go.
I have a
Right, any
question.
other comments or thoughts?
Yes. I have a
Yes.
question. First of all, I want to thank you for the layout of the information. It was really clear and helpful. And I wanted to just focus on something you touched on relating to, although the procurement, the percentage of total expenditures for procurement is small. Something jumped out, which you mentioned, which is that 58% are the legal expenses, but and that bond counsel is a large portion of that, but we haven't really performed well in that area, and you mentioned you were looking into it. So I was curious when the committee might be able to hear the results of that work. I noticed that in the action plan, there's an item on the agenda for April to look into the procurement strategy, and I guess I'm assuming that that might be the time, but if there's something that develops sooner, it might be interesting to hear the results of that.
Sure. Working with council, we've been conducting meetings with the majority bond firms as well as MWBE firms to strategize on ways to increase MWB participation in that area. So at the conclusion of those meetings, I would think we'll come up with results of those conversations.
I was just curious, what amount are we talking about? Do you know offhand the total cost or the total expenditure in that area? Because we have the percentages here. So it's hard to know just how much of the budget it equals.
Well, based on the meetings that are currently taking place, we're looking at least a 30% goal on it. So the expenditure was in excess of about $2 million, I believe, in the last fiscal year. So 30% of that would be worth $600,000. So somewhere in that area for MWBE.
Thanks.
Any other thoughts or comments? If not,
No,
Mr. General
well,
Counsel.
I mean, I would say, I think I've talked about this before, but the chairman and I both spent a lot of time, I think, with Wanda and Veronica and their team. Chairman Thompson was the chairman also of the Governor's Task Force on this subject. So it's an area of great interest to him. We've been focusing on it a lot, I think.
Yes.
And have a pretty good understanding of where we have opportunities to do better, which is the developer community. We're working with Wanda's team to figure out ways that we can, in the future, encourage them to meet their obligations, which we're going to do. It's an important goal.
We appreciate the support. Thank you.
No problem.
One quick addition also on,
Mhm.
as far as the cap, as far as the net worth exemption, the net worth cap. ESD does have the opportunity under the new legislation to waive both industries as well as individual firms from that requirement.
Yeah.
So it's
Wonderful.
something that conversation should be had.
Okay.
You should reach out to ESD.
Okay.
Because they do have that opportunity on the legislation that the governor signed earlier this year to be able to make that change and create that exemption at least for the next couple of years.
Great. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
So
Thank you for those comments. Mr. Schuman, please take it away.
now before all 5 committees is a resolution of the governance committees of the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation, approving the annual updated and consolidated equal opportunity and affirmative action 2016-17 master goal plan, assuming the first and second previously entered for all 5 committees. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. Thank you for that presentation. It was very good and very helpful. All right, item number 3 is resolution approving the Governance Committee Action Plan. Alex, you're going to lead us through this?
Yep. So every year, one of the requirements of the Governance Committee Charter is that the Governance Committee prepare an action plan for the following year. In connection with that, we do a little summary of what the committee has done in the past year. And as committee members know, one of the main things that the committee has been doing that wasn't in the original charter, but is now part of the amended charter, is that since 2012, the committee serves as the entity that approves most of the agency's contracts. so the committee continues to do that. In addition, as part of the work of the committee this year, they completed their committee self-evaluations, assisted the boards in completing the board self-evaluation, reviewed the agency's mission statement, and that's something that Mr. Weiss and Nestor had some comments on, and I'm assuming will come back to the committee in January. We also approved the property disposition report, reviewed amendments to the agency's bylaws adopted in September. And then today, we'll, as we do every year, adopt salary ranges for senior officers and receive a report on salary adjustments for ManCom employees, and as has been done now, review the goal plan for next year. So attached to the materials is the proposed plan for 2016. This again is a staff proposal, and it's just intended to start the conversation. So if any governance committee member wishes to remove or add or make any changes, just let us know, and we will do that. As you can see, it mirrors pretty much what we've done last year. Linda saw that we added in June an item for the review of MWB performance, and we definitely will keep that on there, but obviously we'll provide a report on the legal issues and MWB in advance of that. So please review it, and if you have any additions, suggestions, let us know.
All right. Anybody have any comments or concerns? Thank you, Alan. All righty, Mr. Shimon.
Now, before all 5 committees is a resolution of the governance committees of the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation, approving an action plan. Assuming the first and second previously entered for all 5 committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motions are carried and the resolution adopted.
Item number 4, sorry. The next 5 items on the agenda are consent items. And there will be no discussions on these items unless committee members or directors want to do so. The first one is resolution approving salary ranges for senior officers. That's item number 4. Item number 5 is approval to enter into financial advisor services contract with firms on the agency's newly established pre-qualified panel. Item number 6 is approval to amend contracts with InfoPeople Corporations and Systems Application Information Network, doing business as Computer Resources of America, CRA, for Information Technology Services. And then we have approval of a contract with Richard Lampert for appraisal and market study and consultant services. That's item number 7. And item number 8 is resolution approving the extension of a contract with Genworth Mortgage Insurance Corporation for administrative services. If there are no comments, then we're going to go ahead and have the vote on each of these 5 consent items. Adam?
Just ask if there's any objection to calling one vote on all of these items jointly.
No.
So I'm gonna, so now before all 5 committees is appropriate for items 4 through 8. Some of them do not apply to all 5, but we'll call for the vote together. Our resolutions appropriate for items 4 through 8 of the governance committees of the State of New York Mortgage Agency, the New York State Housing Finance Agency, the New York State Affordable Housing Corporation, the State of New York Municipal Bond Bank Agency, and the Tobacco Settlement Financing Corporation for each of items 4 through 8 as appropriate for each of the committees. Assuming the first and second previously entered for all 5 committees, all in favor of items 4 through 8, please signify by saying aye.
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 The motions are carried and the resolution is adopted.
And that's for items 4 through 8 on the agenda. Item 9 on the agenda is report on salary adjustment management confidential. Item 10 is review of report on agency administration of ethics policy. There are no discussions on these topics, which are, again, information items, unless somebody wants to chit-chat about it. Hearing nothing. There is no unfinished business then before the Governance committees, so we need motions and seconds for each of the 5 agencies, members, and directors committee meetings. Adam?
Assuming the first and second previously entered for all the committees, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motions are carried and the meetings are adjourned. The next governance committee meetings are scheduled to meet on Thursday, January 28, 2016 at 8 a.m.
Thank you, everyone, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
Thank you.